Buena sociedad, estamos en el capítulo número 5 de Encased, vámonos. Voy a buscar esta maceta, A ver si se había buscado en estas macetas. Maceta. Una vez tuve potra y encontré dos reliquias activas. Ahora parece que no tengo tanta potra. Vale, los cadáveres. Hombre, vale, y ahora F5 para contactar con
The
Kingsley.
white noise on the screen is replaced with pulsating blackness and a remote echoing beep. Connection established. In a few seconds, Kingsley's face appears on the screen. The Silver adjusts his glasses.
Come in. C-12 Nashville. Kingsley speak. Oh, that's you. Good to see you.
Kingsley clicks his retractable pen and shifts closer to the camera.
Report.
The chief officer listens to the casualty report without interrupting. He's visibly shaken. Once you finish speaking, Kingsley gets lost in thought, biting the end of his pen.
If there's anything else I need to know, you may add it to your report.
He finally starts speaking, his voice soft and emotionless. You describe recent events. Martin convulsively jots everything down in his notepad. The Silver wipes his forehead with a silk handkerchief, fidgeting.
Good grief. Is there anything else?
Kingsley seems to perk up a little when he hears of the maelstrom.
Did you examine it? Was it moving? Actually, never mind. Anything else?
Director Kingsley flips a page in his notepad, nervously tapping his pen on the desk.
Duly noted. Well then, the news is unsettling. But what about the crew? Have you found them? If it's not an issue, could you update me on each member of your group?
Kingsley takes off his glasses and rubs his forehead with apparent exhaustion.
I'm sorry to hear that.
The Silver jots something down.
I don't doubt for a second that Ronald is doing exactly that. Man's a true professional.
The director sighs angrily.
When the investigation is underway, I'm certain they'll ask me why I deployed someone like that for the task.
The chief officer puts his pen on the desk and sits back in his chair, his gaze empty and detached.
I'm sorry to hear that. Do continue.
He struggles to reply. Kingsley makes a note in the documents.
I see. Please try to find out more if you have a chance.
Once your report is over, Director Kingsley becomes lost in thought.
First of all, I need to apologize. On behalf of the corporation and myself, forgive me. I shouldn't have sent a new employee on this task.
His voice sounds oddly dull. Martin wipes his glasses with a red handkerchief.
Your report seems to suggest we're facing something incredibly dangerous. I always tend to follow my instructions to the letter. In this case, the instructions say you should stay where you are and wait for rescue. But sadly, I know what we're dealing with.
Kingsley puts his glasses on and looks at the screen.
I'm sorry I couldn't give all the details. Nashville is a high-security facility. But I guess that's not important anymore. A certain relic resulted in what you are witnessing right now. In the last couple of days, we've been receiving reports of staff suffering a rapidly deteriorating mental state. And now everything's culminated in this.
The silver sighs raggedly.
Take action. Go down to the excavation area and find this relic. Bury it, disarm it, destroy it. Do whatever you think appropriate. I'll send a rescue team right after we're done here. But regardless, act. Do not hesitate, and good luck to you.
The broadcast is interrupted. The screen is filled with black and white ripples.
Bueno, lo bueno es que puedo abrir esto. ¿Dónde era para activar el servidor? Aquí. Que ya no me acordaba. He hecho tantas veces el capítulo 1 que me acuerdo de casi todo. Vale, el segundo está aquí. Creo. Creo recordar que el segundo estaba aquí o quizás no. ¿Esto qué es? Bueno, está aquí el tercero, sí que me acuerdo de dónde está. Ah, vale, está aquí. Vale, vale, vale. Vale, ¿y ahora qué?
Forgot something. Goodbye.
Vale, ¿y ahora cómo enciendo la luz? Panel de iluminación. Porque la oscuridad hace daño.
Enabling lighting in the excavation zone. Warning. Damage to power system detected. Start the emergency generator.
Los voy a matar a todos.
Lighting enabled.
Vale. Aunque esté dañado. Ahora hay que hacer un guardado antes de atacar. Vale. Después de atacarlos a todos, todos vendrán a atacarme.
Someone from the outside did it. Some outsider. Someone from the outside did it. Some outsider.
Bien, me pongo aquí. Y ya está.
There were traces of fractals. There is outsider radiation everywhere. Someone passed through here scattering their light.
Aquí me pongo. Y que venga quien quiera. Solo me podrán atacar dos a la vez.
Some
There's outsider radiation
Outsider.
everywhere.
Vale, están fuera del alcance.
There's outsider radiation
someone
everywhere.
from the outside did it.
Someone passed
Some
through here. Someone touched it.
outsider.
Covered our place with sick.
La experiencia es pequeña, pero multiplicada por muchos.
There is outsider radiation everywhere. Someone passed through here, scattering their light around.
Hay que tener cuidado porque el daño que hacen es exageradamente falso. Vale, F5.
Someone touched us. There are traces. Someone touched fractals. Covered our place with their scent. There are traces. There's outsider fractals. Traces and fractals. Someone passed through here, scattering their light around.
There's outsider radiation everywhere. Someone passed through here, scattering their light around.
There's outsider radiation everywhere. Someone passed through here, scattering their light around. Ugh.
Queda uno. Rango 2. Y ya está. Boludos. Joder. Es que 125 de estos. Creo que no he matado a todos. Que falta gente. ¿Veis cuánta experiencia he recibido? Mirad, solo 3000 me faltan para subir de nivel. Mira, faltan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Someone from the outside did it. Some outsider. There are traces and fractals. Traces and fractals.
Es que faltaban cadáveres, hay muchos más.
There is outsider radiation everywhere.
Mirad
Someone
cuántos se han
passed
en el
through
G2
here,
ya.
scattering their light around.
Miren, 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 miren. C5. Na, 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 Batman, estrategia, ser
Someone touched us.
visto.
Covered our place with their scent.
There's outsider radiation everywhere. Someone passed through here, scattering their light around. Someone touched us. Covered our places with their scent.
There are traces and fractals.
There are traces and fractals. Traces and fractals.
There is outsider radiation everywhere. Someone outside.
Someone
From the outside did.
Someone touched us. Someone touched us.
With their scent. Someone touched us. Covered our places with their scent.
There are traces and there is outsider radiation everywhere.
There's outsider radiation everywhere.
There are traces.
Someone
touched us. Cover our place
Light
like
around.
this.
There are traces and fractals.
There are traces. Someone touched us.
There is outsider radiation everywhere. Someone passed through
There
here.
are traces and fractals. There is outsider radiation. Someone passed through here, scattering their light.
touched us.
Someone from the outside did it. Someone touched us.
Someone touched us. Covered our places with their... Someone touched us. Covered our places with their scent.
There is outsider radiation everywhere. Someone passed through here scattering.
There are traces and fractals. Traces and fractals.
Vaya. Por eso guardaba cada de esto. Porque pueden hacer críticos los cabrones. Y hacen mucho daño. Hacer armadura ayuda, pero no es invencible.
Traces and fractals. Traces and fractals.
Someone from the outside did it. Some outsider.
There's outsider radiation everywhere. Someone touched us. Covered our place with their scent.
Someone from the outside did it. Some outsider. Someone from the outside did it.
Someone
Some
touched us. They're
outside
covered our
of
places with
the
their scent.
Ya decía yo de que había pocos cuerpos apilados aquí cuando terminé la primera vez. Mira cuántos faltan aún.
Someone touched us? Covered our place with their scent?
Y así es como se hacen los niños. Mirad, solo me faltan 2000. He ganado muchísima experiencia.
There is outsider radiation everywhere.
Hay que atacar a los que ataquen físicamente primero. Vale, este tiene pistola, ese es el que ataca físicamente. Es que mira la cantidad de cadáveres que hay aquí.
Someone touched us?
I am dead.
Sent?
I am dead, boludo, I am dead. Dead, no dead. No estoy muerto, estoy vivo. ¿Really, nigga?
Someone touched us.
Vale, ahora. Vale, a ver. Vamos a ver. ¿Cuánto cuesta esto? 25 menos... Ah, esto quita... La cerveza quita hambre y de esto no lo sabía. A coger todo, me da igual. Coger todo. La cerveza quita hambre. Así no tengo que mirar qué de esto, qué cadáver me he dejado. Aprieto Alt, izquierdo, y el nombre de el cadáver que quieres coger. Ya llevo carga ligera, conservo armadura. Carga ligera que me disminuye la iniciativa, vale. Vale, pues ahora puedo irme. Por desgracia, cuando salga de aquí, tendré que dejar el acero de armadura. Uy, mira, si quedaba uno, dos. Quedaban dos. ¿Dónde vas? F5.
Ow!
No voy a recoger su cadáver porque está en la oscuridad. Aquí da igual qué opción use, que va a acabar mal la cosa. Spoiler.
This amber orange ball, hovering above the scientific equipment connected to it, seems to be the reason for what happened in Nashville. You can feel the waves of anomalous radiation emanating from it with your whole body. A pleasant tingling rolls through your skin, and each wave fills your head for a mere moment with strange, rapidly fading images. Without taking your eyes off the sphere, you move closer. You bend toward the equipment. It's possible the slight electric current being emitted somehow stimulates the artifact's activity, so you decrease the voltage. The cooling system is working 1/2 throttle, so you bring it up to 85%. These measures should reduce the anomalous radiation intensity. At least, that's what you're hoping for. You suddenly begin to feel numb. The prickling in your hands and the anomalous radiation pressing against your head grow weaker, but a frightening sensation rises in their stead. An unknown force detaches you from your body and takes you up into the cool, ringing silence. The maelstrom hanging above Nashville embraces you. All of your consciousness unfolds like a giant canvas, hurling you into a dark auditorium. You see the maelstrom swirling over Nashville. Pulling you from the crumbling walls of the base, it lifts your mind above the world. It covers the lands of the dome like a gigantic spot, in the swirling shadow of which the lights of human consciousness flicker. Some of them fade away, barely in contact with the maelstrom. Others grow dimmer and blink painfully. Some glow with a strange, cold light. Gaining strength, the maelstrom, rushing westward, comes crashing down onto the southern lands of the dome, leaving behind hundreds of fluttering and slowly fading lights. After sweeping out Concord and Spire Station, the maelstrom finally calms down. It hangs in the very center of the dome, like a majestic, lazily swirling vortex. And your mind rushes about within it like a shining spark. It takes you some time to realize that you're wandering through a fog. Eventually, the dull, white nothingness begins to dissipate, slowly returning you to reality. A noise fills your ears, a rumble resembling the sound of waves rolling ashore. You step carefully through the white haze. Fragile bits of rock crackle under your feet. Vague shadows appear from the mist over your head. Breached concrete plate bristling with exposed armature. The dusty drill of an earth mover lying on its side. Yellowed documents, boxes. Crushed steel closets that tumbled down through gaps in the floor. The space beneath your feet resembles thick but perfectly transparent ice. A vortex of clouds spins slowly below, the lights still flickering. They're the same lights you saw when you first touched the sphere. The lights are actively moving, wandering, gathering. Iridescent, they form both small and large groups, and the desert far below changes, following their pattern. Settlements appear in the north, in the east, in the west, and even in the dull yellow barrens of the south. They grow right before your eyes, as if time were moving ahead at incredible speed.
Y he subido de nivel. Brutal, ¿verdad? Lo sé. Pilotaje. $52 en realidad. ¿Por qué? Porque así podré manejar vehículos pesados. Y para la armadura necesito... Además necesito el salto de emergencia, por ejemplo. Vamos, que el pilotaje también me sirve para tener coche. El salto vehicular, vale, ya lo tengo. Bueno, igualmente quiero pilotaje. Crimen 149. A ver quién es este. Ah, sí, Roland Steele.
Hiya.
Toda la gente a la que me voy a encontrar también. Claro, nombre, ¿qué tal?
There's no doubt. The funny, scruffy old man standing before you is Aaron Melville, the old man from the gas station. He also recognizes you. A smile wrinkles his already wrinkled face.
Ah, it's you. Long time no see, sweetheart.
Por cierto, spoiler, Mientras que yo estoy aquí hablando con fantasmas, han pasado 6 meses, creo, o 2 años, no lo sé. 6 meses o 2 años.
Melville examines you closely.
Safe and sound, I see. How'd you pull that off? No one survived where you were heading. The only worst place is the center of the dome, where the spire... well, you know.
The old man points vaguely upwards with his crooked finger.
You're aware, aren't you? The spire is falling. Now the road's closed. As if folks would want to come here anyway. And here we stay, like crabs in a barrel.
Melville's face seems to petrify. He speaks slowly, but flounders anyway.
The gas station can be crowded nowadays. Everybody needs my gas station. Folks went crazy, I tell you. Fighting over nothing.
Perdón, me he saltado esto de aquí. He empezado 2 veces sobre el 1.
The old man woefully shakes his head.
Mira a Clara.
Clara is surrounded with white light and mist, her hands clasped in prayer. She reminds you of an angel statue from some reformist church. Seeing you, her expression changes. She crosses herself, mumbling under her breath.
Gritar bu.
Clara recoils from you in horror.
I was having lunch, and then you appeared. Out of nowhere.
She nervously touches the cross hanging from her neck. She steps towards you and kneels.
I must repent.
Clara's voice trembles.
When Maelstrom broke, I didn't try to save anyone. I just got in the truck and drove away. I'm a terrible sinner. I know. I hope you're in heaven.
She raises a face distorted with suffering.
No sé dónde estoy.
Clara sighs heavily.
I see. Why are you appearing to me? Is this some sort of a sign? Do you know about signs? This is when...
Her voice suddenly becomes deep and thick. She drawls as if her words were being played from a corrupted tape. Clara's face alters subtly, as if it had turned to stone.
Abbott is very kind to me. But his faith is nothing I could get used to.
She says in a dull voice.
Nunca me he pasado del capítulo 2 del juego.
Greetings.
No te dicen nada, pero tienes que avanzar aquí.
A dazzling supernova
Hasta
light
hacia el
flash
centro.
sweeps across your view. The lights, frozen in the desert, start to move, and a cloudy funnel begins to slowly trail after them. The funnel spreads out under your feet. Flickering waves of lights drift northward, driven by the winds of a maelstrom. Not just a maelstrom. Maelstrom. Its shadow covers the west and south of the dome, as if it was extinguishing the lights scattered across the desert.
Mira, Sebastián.
Van Olden looks the same as he did during your first meeting. The same shiny
Sí,
glasses
Sebastián.
with thin rims, an arrogant expression, and a stopwatch clutched in his hands. He's examining a shred of mist hanging in the air. He's so involved in his research that he doesn't notice you at first. Meeting your eyes, the scientist instantly darts back. Then he comes up to you and begins to palpate your face, hands, and clothes. His fingers seem to sink in your face. Sebastian Van Olden screws up his lips scornfully.
Yes, of course. A thought form, like the pink mist, I suppose, or any other similar anomaly. As was to be expected.
For a split second, the scornful grimace leaves the scientist's face.
I actually agree with you. The megala anomaly of Nashville turned out to be much more dangerous, and the consequences of its appearance disastrous.
Megaloanomalía de Nashville.
On the other hand, everything that happened gives us the most plentiful research material. If Russo didn't hamper me, we would have learned Maelstrom's nature a long time ago.
He runs his hand over the mist, curling around. The scientist loses all interest in you, steps aside, and continues to study the mist.
Hombre, Martin Kingsley.
A gray-haired man, arms stiff at his sides, stands squinting short-sightedly into the mist.
Sí, creo que han pasado 2 años.
Kingsley is much shorter in person, and older. He notices you.
I never thought we'd meet again. I must thank you. Thanks to your report, I was able to start the evacuation in time.
Martin comes closer. You notice small changes in his uniform. Some of the insignia have been replaced by larger patches resembling military chevrons. Kingsley nods as if anticipating your question.
Yes, the uniform is new, but the man is the same. Head of Magellan Base. I intended to resign after the incident, but Nakamura decided otherwise. I couldn't argue with her.
He surveys the thick mist around you.
One thing's certain. You're standing here. That means you're alive. Yes, I know what this is, partly.
He looks you in the eye and says,
Scientists on the emulator project have been telling us a lot about it. Not everything, of course. Even they don't know what it is.
Y hacia el centro. Para avanzar.
You smell quartz and sand tempered in the sun. But as you try to penetrate the dispersing mist, you can't see any desert. The world around you is full of pictures. They're floating around like visions in some crystal ball. A hall covered with carpets. A golden Cronus logo on the wall among wine-red banners. A power plant. A city filled with lights. Mercenaries, soldiers, armored vehicles moving through the cool wasteland in the night. The spire of a temple spire, its searchlight shining into the night sky. White corridors of research complexes. The visions fade one after another until only the last remains. The black silhouette of a strange building towering up from the lighter sand. This picture freezes before your eyes, as if giving sense to everything that came before.
Buah, ahora un montón de peña. Mira, Nakamura.
You hear heels clicking. A dark figure appears out of the mist before you. It's a woman. You've never met her, but you feel as though you've seen her face 1,000 times. You even know the sound of her voice, although you have no idea where you could have heard it. She looks at you with surprise. Then she frowns pensively and steps closer. She stands so close you can see multicolored reflections in her bionic eye. After poking you to confirm your ethereal nature, she waves her hand left to right. Obviously, she's hoping to disperse you like mist. Naturally, she fails. The woman chuckles discontentedly and leaves. The clicking of her heels fades quickly away.
Oh, mira el abad con el que nunca había hablado.
A wizened old man, long and lean as a scarecrow, leans over to examine you with the curiosity of a vulture. His long, yellow-white robes fall down in waves and rustle quietly. His stony black eyes resemble those of a blind man, but their gaze is fixed on you.
Such remarkable technology.
He says in a low, well-modulated voice. This voice seems to belong to some other person. He smiles, a warm and kindly expression, wildly at odds with the menace in his eyes.
Name your price, and I'll buy your design. But be reasonable. Take time with your answer. Think it through.
With the smile still fixed on his face, he steps back into the mist, never taking his eyes off you. The fuzzy mist, as if whisked with a mixer, looks like slowly dissolving clouds. A short, chubby little man in a camouflage cap and army shirt steps fussily out of the white. He clasps his hands behind his back and stops a few steps away, scanning you with his gaze. Vivid interest flashes in his eyes. He clears his throat.
I'm out of jokes about death. Or about Mr. Christ. I'm out of jokes about hallucinations. Although hallucinations under the dome aren't any joke, but an everyday reality.
The man circles you. His glance bounces from your face to your uniform to your shoes and back.
But you are something else. So, let's see. A pre-war haircut, old-time uniform, clean and pressed. Shoes aren't worn out, just got them.
He recites with enthusiasm. He frees his plump palm and carefully touches you with one finger.
You are ethereal, but light-tight. You respond to my movements. You are not using an image that's familiar to me. You don't look like anyone I know. And your badge says...
He raises himself on tiptoes and fixes his eyes upon your badge.
The name. Of course. Of course. The name.
He flings his arms about and leaves without even saying goodbye. The mist seems to slam shut behind his back like a pit.
O a los Riser,
Fluctuant white slowly settles.
o Railer, como se
A
llamen.
man and a woman stand before you. The woman rolls her eyes discontentedly.
Are you serious? Tuesday, I tell you. Wednesday, I tell you. Thursday. How come I always repeat the same thing? I can't sleep without my pills. You're the man. You're responsible for me. The nightstand. The top drawer. There they are. Oh, my pills. Just say pills before we go to sleep. Is that so difficult, Johan?
She pushes him lightly on the shoulder. The man nods automatically, lost in thought. The woman clasps her hands in front of her chest. She's boiling with frustration.
I can't depend on you, can I? I haven't been able to relax in years because I have to control the situation for both of us. Johan! Hello! My pills! P-I-L-L-S!
Her shouts break through the man's pondering. He comes to his senses and stares at you in surprise. Then he turns to face his companion.
Olivia, don't shout. Make a habit of putting your pills on your pillow. Anyway, this isn't about the pills.
Olivia falters and points her finger at you.
And what is this? Or who is this? Mind telling me, without the never-ending riddles, Johan? Just tell me.
Johan gives you an appraising look.
Is it Maelstrom? Hobbit's trying out a new device? I don't know, darling. Now, be so kind to take these goddamn pills since you remembered. And if you must yell to it quietly, I have a migraine.
The woman flings her arms up fiercely and walks away into the mist. Johan lets her go ahead, then follows.
Este tipo de aquí es interesante, nunca hablé con ella. Es de una
An
facción
unfamiliar
nueva.
woman steps out of the mist and looks at you with the wandering eyes of a mad person. She's wearing a tall, crudely made tin crown painted with gold powder enamel. She smiles, although on her, this expression is more like an evil grin. She begins to prowl around you in a circle, wary eyes locked on your face. While circling around you, she steps into the mist and stops in place, a vague, distant silhouette. The mist fades away. You see a short, dark-skinned man with a grim face. He's wearing a brightly colored turban. You take a step towards him, and he strides forward as if to block your way.
The ends justify the means, don't they? Have your scientists nothing better to do, Kimiko?
He asks, looking upward. The stranger raises his hand, forcing you to stop. He looks up again.
We have to be like the Soviet Union and Germany in the late 1930s. Mutual favors, mutual limits, parity. We've always worked on such terms.
As he finishes speaking, his lips stop. The man in the turban keeps standing there, a lean figure looking angrily upward.
Ah, no sé cómo salir de aquí. Bueno. Ya no hay oscuridad aquí. ¿Por dónde está la salida? Vaya, está al revés. Por aquí. Por desgracia, menos 20 de iniciativa. Carga. Ay, qué mal. Y no puedo volver aquí por la armadura.
By the time you exit the cave, the desert is in deep darkness. Blue firefly lights are floating in the thick darkness. The dry, chilly air smells of cooling sand. When you look closer, you notice a tall, white structure nearby. The screen on your Kairos blinks. The system reports an error while trying to update the built-in atlas. When the maps reload, the icons are gone. Only a single marker indicating your location remains. Well, you're still near Nashville, at least judging by the coordinates.
Este chupa pasadizo que se adentra en la cueva está oculto tras arbustos espinosos y rocas puntiagudas. Puntiagudas, no puedes volver atrás. Sí, no puedo volver atrás.
Prohibited. Employee currently deployed to the danger zone must leave. Encouraged to seek asylum. The city is far enough from...
Vale, pues hasta aquí este capítulo. Soy Seda y nos vemos en un próximo directo vídeo. Chao.